parameters for stereo matching. The setup that we currently have is a Windows PC with an AMD A10 processor and two Microsoft LiveCam HD 3000s plugged in. The cameras haven't been calibrated and they've been manually stereo matched. When you want to have calibrated cameras, you use the utility to match the cameras with a checkboard pattern, and then click the rectify button and select the camera path here to the two files here, which are for the intrinsic and intrinsic rectification, intrinsic and extrinsic. Okay, so basically the parameters we have are the minimum disparity shift here, maximum disparity, the sum of absolute difference window size, the height multiplier for the extrusion mesh, and lambda and sigma for the post-processing filter. All of these parameters can be adjusted using the slider on the toolbar. The distance parameter here is so that the mesh knows the exact distance from the camera and is able to curve towards the viewer, as you can see now enabled, which gives us a radial convergence extrusion of the mesh, which largely removes camera noise. So let's look at the slider here, the drop down slider. We've got disparity. When we put the cursor over the slider, we'll see it says adjust 3D disparity, 3D stereo shift, displacement, stereo displacement, lambda and sigma using shift control alt. So we're going to set the range to 1, and then we're going to adjust the sigma. You have to make sure you've selected the correct object. You can see now we're blending the 3D depth map settings, removing some of the noise. The other values that we can adjust are the maximum disparity, up to 80 or further, 0 defaults to 48, and so on. Other fields are the minimum disparity, shift key down, and here we fine tune the disparity matching. The SAD size likewise can be adjusted. Readjustment can take some time, so once you've moved it, you may have to wait a couple of seconds sometimes for the effect. And you can immediately see in real time the changes to the parameters. Speckle filter and threshold. These work with the main filter. This is the extrusion grid, which is doing the 3D processing. And we see here this second parameter is the primary filter. We put one in, we get the secondary filter. Which has got different characteristics. Switching back, now we can adjust the speckle window here, shift down, and you can see that drops away the background noise. Switch to threshold, so the threshold window, and again we can process out noise to a larger extent. So that basically shows the basic controls for stereo matching. Looking at the user interface here at the top quickly, the P is for panning and the S is for spinning. So for example, with spin on, I spin the items in the scene. With pan on and the Alt key down, I can pan the scene. With the Alt key up it's slower, Alt key down faster. The rest of the controls are detailed in the user manual.